So game week 21 has gone. It's time we sit down and break down all of the action from Sky Bet League One this weekend. Let's go. As always, if you do find value from the content, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe. We're getting closer to 7,000 by the day. It would be great to hit that milestone soon. Thank you very much for the recent support. It's been phenomenal. Let's begin with the first game, Oxford United, as they hosted Burton Albion. So, Oxford 3, Burton Albion 0, the XG 2.76 to 0.2. It's taken about 3 weeks, but Des Buckingham has won his first league game as Oxford United manager, and we played really well. Let's begin with Oxford United. It was controlled, it was intricate, there was a tempo increase, and most importantly, there was end product. That's right, there was product at the end of all of that build-up play. A certain individual stole the show and explained through his performance just how important he is, especially when you're looking to put teams to the sword in the final third. In Oxford's last home game before Christmas, Des Buckingham's subtle tweaks are beginning to unwrap themselves. Like at Christmas, like a present. Nah, it's fine. Let's go to Burton. To put it bluntly, although Oxford were great, not many of Burton's outfield players made it difficult. They accepted the need to defend and invite pressure for large spells, but if it wasn't for the goalkeeper, Burton could have been 6 or 7-0 down. The body language and surrendered attitude at only 1 goal down was really strange and highlighted the sheer amount of work the new Burton boss has got on their hands when they come through the door. Let's look at the graph in front of you now. The graph visualises the Oxford domination, very rarely allowing Burton to get a foothold in this game. The first half was slow at points, but a goal to show for it. The rhythm was always swinging in one direction. The second goal took a while to come, and you're sat there thinking, surely not. Surely we can't drop points in a game where we've had pretty much total control throughout. But the persistent and front-footed nature of Oxford killed this one off comfortably. But it took a while, a nervous while. When looking at the stats, Oxford in possession are fine. It's been about how good we are and how effective we've been with the ball during certain games. That's what's led to problems. For context, against Reading, Oxford had over 60% of the ball but created one of their lowest XGs of the season with only 1 shot on goal. Yesterday, things were much better. With 58% possession, Oxford managed 28 shots and 14 on target. You've probably seen the clip online, but about 7 of those came in one phase of play. It was an absolute goal line scramble. How we didn't convert from one of those is incredible, and Max Crocombe in goal for Burton played a massive part in not just that phase of play, but across the entire game. He was phenomenal for Burton, like I said in the introduction, kept them in the game for large moments, and if it wasn't for him, it could have been, well, comfortably more than just 3 in the back of his net. One player added the spark for Oxford, more on him later, but when looking at Oxford with a more broader eye, the average positions are extremely satisfying. The equal gaps between players and clear use of the 4-3-3 shows just how much of the ball Oxford had in this game. Des decided to stick with the single 6 with 2-8 operating in the advanced areas. Ruben took that position after just 1 game like a fish to water. You can see by looking at the positions now, number 18 Marcus McGuane playing as that sitting 6 with of course Brannigan and Ruben slightly higher. They're playing as 8. I mean, Ruben with so much of the ball and so much licence is almost being operated as a wide number 10, but let's call it 2-8. That's what they really are. The wide players are being used differently. Des wants to use his traditional wingers, quick, direct and with plenty of width. And Murphy, he's looking better by the game as well. He's getting so much space. His pace and skillful ability to drive in the box is phenomenal, and Stanley Mills is also really quick and very direct. When you look at the wingers Oxford have got, and Marcus Edwards of course is out, Kyle Edwards is out, and Marcus Brown is out right now, again those will suit that extremely well. They're quick and they're direct. I really like the look of how these wingers are being used by Des Buckingham. When looking at key players, Magnifico, Ruben Rodriguez, he stole the show. I've been teasing it during the podcast so far, but he was great. Ruben, at his best, provides a dynamic spark to this Oxford attack. His ability to create in zone 14, his intelligence to drop deep and drive with the ball. Goals are now flowing as well. This summer signing is looking better by the week. Across the 90 minutes, he accumulated 2 fantastic goals, 4 chances created, 4 key passes and 4 passes into the final third. It was an attacking masterclass. Ruben played a massive role in this game, and Des got his first league win as Oxford United manager. Next up, Barnsley 1, Charlton 1, the XG 1.21 to 0.95. In a game between two sides with playoff ambitions, the points are fairly shared at Oakwell. Let's touch on Barnsley first. When you mix sloppiness defensively and a lack of edge up in the final third, there's a high chance of crucial points being dropped. When I try and describe certain Barnsley performances this season, the word careless comes to mind. Avoidable goals being conceded down to concentration and intelligence, I'd like to say, at points. I mean, the goal they conceded in this game, more on that later, it is very, very sloppy and definitely avoidable. But then going forward, the identity isn't quite established yet, and they're sort of hindering themselves from creating and converting multiple chances against better opposition. When we look at Charlton, frustrations will lie with the officials. The ball was very, very clearly out of play, and once again, I don't like speaking about officials here on the roundup. I like to focus on the football, but it's a very, very careless mistake. The ball's gone out of play, and that goal shouldn't have stood, but there's no video assistant referee. The referee makes the call at that instance, and that is what they have to go with. One significant mistake stops Michael Appleton's side from winning this game through what was a very encouraging performance. Charlton had real control for large spells, creating opportunities while sustaining brave pressure for key moments of this match. We'll touch on this again later, but the attacking patterns of play are visible, very visible. Slightly better end product with a competent referee making good decisions, and this goes down as a brilliant 3 points. When we look at the graph in front of you, it does credit Charlton highly. They played like the home side for large parts of this clash. The domination for 20 minutes either side of half-time is encouraging and visualises the bravery Charlton showed going forward. For Neil Collins and Barnsley, I'm not convinced it's totally clicking yet in all departments. There's brief moments of quality and proven quality on an individual basis in that squad. We saw it last season and we've seen it in moments during this campaign. But consistency, or the lack of consistency, is causing for quite patchy moments across large amounts of games. When we look at the stats, the possession stats back up the graph. Charlton had 57% of the ball. That's the first time they've had more of the ball away from home against a side in a higher league position than them. 0 recorded clear-cut chances does show the next step is developing with the ball, but 15 shots and a well-worked goal, things do look much better in build-up. Barnsley had their moments at the start and at the end of the match, but I don't think they deserved more than what they've got. I think 1-1 is a pretty fair result in this game, and Barnsley, I don't think they can feel hard done by at all. I wanted to show you the shot maps of these two sides, and I do think they hold some value, so here they are in front of you now. Barnsley's is on the left and Charlton's is on the right. Defensively, Barnsley have been concerning, and the shot map visualises their struggles when it comes to defending their box. I mean, the first goal of the game, and the only goal, of course, Barnsley conceded in this match, is an example of that. How easy was it for Blackett-Taylor to find himself in that area that quickly? I mean, Williams has got himself to blame because that pass is a good one, but the defending of his own penalty area is horrendous. And you can see when looking at the maps in front of you, the shots are coming from inside Barnsley's box. They cannot defend that box very well whatsoever, and definitely didn't in this game. 12 of Charlton's 15 efforts came from inside the area, suggesting the tendency to invite pressure deep was a very dangerous and, I'd say, silly call to make. We're looking at the key players. Blackett-Taylor and Adam Phillips were great and, of course, scored the 2 goals. But George Dobson caught my eye yesterday. I think still one of the most underrated League One players. He was phenomenal. He accumulated 4 chances and big chances, created comfortably the most touches out of any player on the pitch with 89, 15 passes into the final third and 12 defensive recoveries. For Charlton, it's a good point on the road. For Barnsley, it's not quite there yet. I think it might, but it needs to happen quickly because this league is so open and so much can change in every single match week. In probably one of the biggest shocks of the weekend in Sky Bet League 1, Bolton 1, Bristol Rovers 2. The XG 0.82 to 1.17 when Matt Taylor looked at his first few fixtures as Bristol Rovers head coach. I can imagine Bolton away might not have been the one he highlighted as his first win in post. But this is League 1 and anything goes. Let's begin with Bolton Wanderers. From a side that only weeks ago were part of a 6-game winning streak in the division, aspects of that performance were totally unrecognisable. Santos topped off a pretty bad week with the red card, making the task of gaining full control, which is crucial and a key principle in this Ian Evatt setup, very, very tough. Ian Evatt's principles are well known, and when you lose one player in and out of possession, you will be heavily effective. The intricate and patient style can be disrupted and was disrupted, and therefore lead to trouble. When we look at Bristol Rovers, Matt Taylor has arrived, a manager that tends to find the blend between organisation, structure and functional attacking output. More on that attacking output later. It's fascinating. Defensively, they answered most questions, and as the stats will show in a moment, the product created with less of the ball was exceptional. Getting that first win as a manager is important. To do it in that style against that opposition, plenty of encouraging building blocks have been laid. When looking at the graph in front of you, it probably wasn't the graph we expected to see before this match, but should we expect anything in League 1? I'd say possibly not. The Bolton red card obviously plays a part in the rhythm, but Bristol Rovers for a long time, either side of half-time, were comfortably the better team. Bolton did click into gear for the last 20 minutes or so and piled on some pressure, but similar to Monday night, the damage was done before the break and they left themselves far too much of a steep mountain to climb. When looking at the stats, Bolton's first half performance was probably the worst of the season and nowhere near the levels shown only a few weeks ago. For the first time this season, Bolton failed to register a single shot on goal in the opening 45, being so ineffective, lethargic and I think hungover from Monday in possession. In comparison with 39% of the ball, Bristol Rovers were fantastic at carving out opportunities and creating output with their brief moments in attack. 10 shots, 6 on target, 2 goals. It was a pretty impressive opening 45. A tactical switch from Ian Evatt did give defensive stability for Bolton, but with Dion Charles coming off, it of course would hinder them up top. When looking at the key players, it's easy to look straight at the goal scorers, but John Marquis was brilliant all round. Along with the goal, he managed 3 chances created, 5 touches inside the box, and a great ability to defend from the front. That's 5 defensive recoveries. And in a game where you're going to have to work as a unit and defensively be great from top to bottom, he and John Marquis got that spot on. Fair play. Final points. That's now 1 point from their last 3 for Bolton. And with this league being so open this season, they dropped down to 5th. Fair play to Bristol Rovers. The extra man, of course, did help, but the game plan and the execution was second to none. A brilliant result on the road. The final game in real detail, Shrewsbury 0, Portsmouth 3. The XG 0.44 to 1.88. POMPEY remain unbeaten away from home, picking up 24 points from a possible 30 on the road. That's now 7 points clear. They find themselves at the top of League 1. Pretty impressive. Let's begin with Shrewsbury. We can analyse every aspect of this Shrewsbury performance, but the bottom line is this result, and a lot of this result, does come down to a significant difference in quality. They show glimpses of promise here and there, but when it comes to clear-cut chances, they were certainly few and far between, with Shrewsbury's intention to defend in a low block and soak up large amounts of possession. Pompey's slick build-up and attacking spark made that task an impossible one. For Portsmouth, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but at least it's a nice record. Yesterday was controlled, composed, professional, and in the end, extremely comfortable. That's now 12 points from a possible 12 after their first league defeat of the season. No, they won't have trouble bouncing back. They've scored 10 goals in that period, not conceding once. I ask you one question. Could they? Let's take a look at the graph in front of you now. It's a usual but impressive Pompey-themed graph. Controlled, controlled, controlled. Breaking the deadlock was the first challenge, but after that the floodgates opened and we all know how difficult it is to stop this Pompey team in a groove. When looking at the stats, Matt Taylor would have known coming into this game having a lot of the ball wouldn't have been possible. So the game plan was clear, but extremely hard. Essentially, defend in a tight low block, have the fullbacks playing very narrow and the centre-backs deep to prevent the pace in behind. In the first half, that was sort of working. It was frustrating Pompey, but in the second, the sheer brilliance of Paddy Lane and Abu Kamara ripped the plan to shreds. Both goals after the break were influenced from out wide. Nothing new for Pompey this season. Go and check out why this Pompey team is so special. That video is on the channel, getting lots of nice comments. Thank you very much for that. And we looked at the way they attack, and the wide areas is the number one method. This side have the best goal output from moves involved in wide play out of any other League One club, and the 2 goals in the second half were exactly that. And even, the long throw, that was of course from a wide area too. We're looking at the average positions to show exactly how advanced Mourinho wants his wide players to play. Look at the left-hand side. The positioning of Sparks is almost in line with Pompey's striker, and Paddy Lane is even further forward. Kamara and Lane are getting better by the week, and the end product is just as crucial. When looking at key players, Kamara must get a mention. 2 goals from 2 efforts on goal. His pace and desire to go 1v1 with a defender is exceptional and the perfect profile for this Mourinho outfit. But the Pompey skipper is getting the nod. Marlon Pack led through performance. His heat map shows him everywhere in his own half, dictating, breaking up play and looking great in transition. He accumulated the second highest number of touches with 101, managing 10 passes into the final third. Bursting into the box for the second is great and topped off an outstanding all-round performance. Of course, no matter what happens on the 23rd of December, mathematically Portsmouth will find themselves top of Sky Bet League One. They have been phenomenal, and during the festive period, they've looked even better. Let's go around the grounds. So Carlisle 2, Northampton 2, Stevenage 1, Exeter 1, Shrewsbury 0, Pompey 3, Port Vale 3, Wigan 2, a great game there, Oxford 3, Burton 0, Lincoln 1, Reading 1, Fleetwood 0, Peterborough 1, they move into the automatic promotion places. Derby 1, Wycombe 1, a late penalty in that one. Cheltenham 1, Leyton Orient 2, a late goal in that clash. Cambridge 2, Blackpool 1, Burton 1, Bristol Rovers 2, and of course Barnsley 1, Charlton 1. Thank you very much for tuning in for this roundup. It's been great. It's been really good fun. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below your takes on this weekend in Sky Bet League One. I'll be replying and responding to all of those as per usual. I've been Jack. This has been the Jack Ward Football Podcast, and I will see you all very, very soon. Take care.